Alright, so during the red carpet event of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, Scott Gimple has actually teased a potential season 2 or multiple seasons for this show. So today's video, I'll be talking about that and just giving my own thoughts about it and what characters could potentially show up in a season 2 of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. So please stay tuned. And now, before rushing into the video, I'd like to ask you all to like, share, and subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much for the growth. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. And the reason why I didn't upload for the past 3-4 days, probably a little bit more, is because I'm actually out of the country. And yesterday was my flight. I made it last night. So yeah, I found time to record, and I want to record this video as soon as possible. So yeah, I'm sorry for the delay, because I know that there is actually a lot of news for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, and also the show is about to come out in the next 10 days. So I just want to be on top of the news as much as possible. But I will try my best to stay on top of the news and to give you all consistent uploads and just updates and just my breakdowns and thoughts about The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, and just everything else about The Walking Dead universe. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. And now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, Scott Gimple did tease a potential The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live season 2 or multiple seasons for this show. He did tease it, he did not confirm it. He said never say never. So this could mean something, this can't mean anything whatsoever. But again, why would he say never if there wasn't a season 2 for this show? And also with Dead City and Daryl Dixon having multiple seasons of their shows, I think that it's appropriate for Rick and Michonne to get more seasons of their show. And also with The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live having pretty good reviews in the start, right? It got like an 8 out of 10 by IGN, which is pretty high when it comes to the Walking Dead universe. I think that it is very possible that a season 2 could be in the works. And also with only 6 episodes and just telling Rick Grimes' story, including Michonne's story and also the CRM, which are the biggest baddies in the Walking Dead universe, I think that 6 episodes won't be able to do it justice. And also just having the whole conflict being resolved in 6 episodes, that does not make sense whatsoever. So I think that it is very possible that a season 2 for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live is in the works. But what can happen in a potential season 2 for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live? And now, of course, we have to see how the show ends, right? We have to see how the show concludes. To be specific, season 1, if there is a season 2 of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, we would have to see how season 1 ends for this show to make real assumptions and theories about it. I mean, the first episode didn't even come out yet. But if the show does end with Rick and Michonne being stuck in the CRM, which is one theory I did make way back in the start of my channel, where I did mention that if there are multiple seasons of the show, it might end off with Rick and Michonne being stuck in the CRM and potentially Major General Beale dying, with Jadis becoming the new leader of the CRM and Jadis becoming the new big bad of the Walking Dead universe. And I think that that is very possible, because they have to add some plot twists in there. They have to add a lot of surprises for the viewers. So I think that if Major General Beale were to die, which is pretty possible, I think that they would make way for Jadis to be the new big bad, because again, so far she has more character development than Major General Beale. Again, we have to see when the show comes out. Personally, I want to stay as Major General Beale. I want Major General Beale to stay as the big bad of the Walking Dead universe, but it would be very interesting to actually have somebody to stab him in the back and to overthrow him to become the new leader of the CRM, because we could see what Jadis did in season 8, right? She backstabbed Rick, and then she backstabbed Negan, right? So she is capable of that sort of thing. So again, I think we would see a lot more of that side of Jadis in the show as well. And I think that she is not fully changed. She still has that side of her personality, and I think that that would be a really big point of the story in this show. And now let's talk about the new characters that could potentially show up in the show. And again, of course, at the end of the day, it's not confirmed. This is just speculation. So the first character I wanted to talk about was Morgan. And now Morgan's reunion with Rick has been teased so much even in the last episode of Fear, and I've talked about this so much on my channel because it is obvious, right? Morgan being the character to reunite with Rick, and Morgan being the character to show up in a potential season 2 or even in season 1 of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, is a very high likely chance. And of course, that's because Morgan is the only character that does not have a spin-off, and he is the one that's looking for Rick. I mean, Daryl was looking for Rick as well, but he got his own spin-off. And Michonne was looking for Rick, but of course she's in this show, so technically you could count her as having a spin-off. But Morgan is the only character that's looking for Rick, but he does not have his own spin-off, which does make me conclude that he's going to be showing up in season 1 of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, or again, like, you know, if there is a season 2 and if what they're teasing is true, Morgan might have a very integral part in The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live season 2, like how Carol has for Daryl Dixon season 2. And now how this could play out is that if The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live season 1 ends on a bad note, and that's if Michonne and Rick both get stuck in the CRM, or Rick becomes a full-on CRM soldier and he just goes rogue, which of course is not possible, but what I could see, if there is multiple seasons for this show, I could totally see Rick and Michonne being stuck in the CRM, and then somebody coming to save them, a third person, which could be Morgan. And of course, season 2 of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live could be called The Book of Morgan, like how Daryl Dixon season 2 is called The Book of Carol. And I think that is a theme that they might be going on with here. I don't think that's like an exclusive thing for Daryl Dixon. I think that even for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, I think that they would actually do something like The Book of Morgan or some other crazy idea like that. And now the second character I wanted to talk about is Daryl. And now Daryl showing up in The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live is pretty slim. And that's because, of course, Daryl Dixon is having a season 3. And that is another video I'm going to be working on. It is confirmed that Daryl Dixon has a season 3 and it's in pre-production. So again, like, you know, the timeline of the Walking Dead universe so far is pretty confusing, and I will work on a timeline video for the Walking Dead universe in general, from the start to the finish, until like the spin-offs and stuff like that, just to give a more clear idea, because I have a feeling that I might know how the timeline works for these shows. And also with the Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live coming out, we might get a better idea of how the timeline works. And now, if Daryl Dixon has only 3 seasons or 4 seasons, 5 seasons, right? Like, again, like, Daryl is going to be in France for a long time. And of course, like, The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, if it does have a season 2, they're either going to be stuck in the CRM, or I have another idea which could be very interesting. What if The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live season 2, season 3 is set in France, and the whole group, including Rick and Michonne, they all go and look for Daryl? And of course, they did confirm, or not really confirm, but they did tease a crossover series for the Walking Dead universe. So this crossover series could potentially be the rest of the seasons for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, because again, like, The Ones Who Live, that line was said by every character at the end of season 11, including Rick and Michonne. So it's not like a thing that only Rick and Michonne say. It's not like a thing that's only for them. Like, every character did say it at the end of season 11. So it is very possible that, like, you know, this crossover series could be multiple seasons of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5, and that is set looking for Daryl, because of course, like, Daryl is one of the most popular characters, if not the most popular characters of, like, the Walking Dead universe. So it does make sense to make him an integral part of, like, you know, this universe. And, like, you know, for Daryl looking for Rick, I think that Rick looking for Daryl would be a very interesting storyline as well. But for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live having multiple seasons, again, like, I do see it happening, and that's because this show is getting so many good reviews, right? And like how I mentioned in the start of the video, IGN gave it like an 8 out of 10, and people are calling it perfection. People are calling it a masterpiece, right? This is from what I'm hearing online and on YouTube and just reviews in general. So I have pretty high hopes for this show, and I think that a season 2 for this show is more than likely, because again, like, it's gonna succeed, right? And with the big budget that they put into this, I think that they're gonna get a lot of return from it. But you know, what could they do in a season 2 if Rick and Michonne are stuck in the CRM? What more can they do? Because the only way out of the CRM is to take them down. But like the crossover series does seem like the event that's going to be taking down the CRM is going to put a conclusion to that story. So, but yeah, like the only way I do see a season 2 happening is that if they put more characters into the mix, like Morgan, and then if Morgan, Rick, and Michonne, they escape the CRM together, and then they go to the Commonwealth, and then they warn everybody, I think that would be very nice as well. And of course, like how I mentioned before, Morgan is the most likely character to show up in the show, and that's because, like, again, they're most likely not going to be doing a Morgan spinoff, and like how, like, The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 2 is called The Book of Carol, so technically season 2 of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon is counted as a Carol spin-off. So again, like, you know, this could be their way of making a Morgan spin-off but attached to Rick and Michonne as well, because just imagine if they made a separate spin-off for Morgan going through his whole journey. We have to watch a whole season or 2 of that, and then he reunites with Rick. I think that'd be a little bit of overkill, right? You know, like I think that wait would be way too long. I mean, we're already waiting long enough for Daryl and Rick to reunite. So again, like, I think that this is a really smart move if they were to do this, if they were to call The Walking Dead The Ones Who Live season 2 The Book of Morgan, and then they have Morgan and Mo, like, you know, they're going to the Commonwealth, and they're going to Alexandria, they're asking about Rick, and then Morgan gets the idea that the CRM did take Rick, and then he makes his way to the CRM, he makes his way to Philadelphia, because he did say that he's going to be looking for Rick, right? He did say on the radio. And maybe, like, you know, this is another idea I did have in one of my other videos, and I will say it again in this video, that what if the post-credit scene of the show is Morgan talking in the radio? And this is based off of the ending of season 8 of Morgan's last episode in Fear the Walking Dead, where Morgan was talking in the radio and he said that I'm going to be doing this message every day at dawn, and, like, you know, this message is for Rick Grimes. So, like, you know, they did plant the seeds there. So at the end of season 1 of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, it is very, very likely that we might hear Morgan's voice. And of course, we might not see Morgan himself. We might not see his journey, or maybe we could see it like how they did with Carol. Because again, like, all of the signs are pointing towards that they're going to give Morgan the same treatment that they gave to Carol, and I think that would be very smart. If the post-credit scene of The Walking Dead The Ones Who Live season 1 is Morgan pulling up to the CRM, I think that would be insanely hype, and that would be a perfect foundation for a season 2 of this show. And now that's it for today's video. I'd like to ask you all to like, share, and subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much for the growth. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really, really appreciate it. And we have a goal in mind for 5,000 subscribers. So if you guys want to be part of that journey to 5,000 subscribers, please like, share, and subscribe. But yeah, like, I started recording this video yesterday, but like, I just got done it today. So like, when I said that I landed last night, it was 2 nights ago, like, you know, as of right now. But I will try my best to record more often, more frequently, because there are so many stuff that are coming out for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, and it's just a lot to cover. And, you know, like, the jet lag is pretty crazy right now, but like, I will try to keep a good like recording schedule, a good uploading schedule, and I'll try to get videos out as soon as possible. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys so much for watching.